From the headlines that move us
to the plays on the field and the people making a difference.
It's news, sports, and stories that keep our community alive.
This is the Heartbeat of Tampa Bay.
I'm Christopher Ingram.
And I'm Sarina Fazan. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Hello, Christopher.
Hello, the lovely Sarina Fazan.
Oh my gosh.
How are you?
You're so flattering to me. Oh, good. How are you?
Good. We have a lot of crazy stuff to talk about today.
Oh my gosh.
Including a couple different shootings, the Pink Building in St. Pete.
Mm-hmm. And then the IRS and
IRS.
A lot of families, but a lot of families are getting money back on refunds.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we've got quite a packed show.
A lot of stuff to talk about. Okay, so Orlando, just this last week, there was a shooting involving juveniles. 4 of them got shot.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is in life-threatening critical condition at a hospital in Orlando.
And it's so crazy. As you know, I was just in Orlando.
You were over there at Epcot, right?
At
for
Epcot.
The Valentine's Day weekend.
Yeah, for Valentine's Day weekend. And then this happens the day after in broad daylight.
It's crazy.
I mean, nuts. And it's kids going after kids.
Yeah, they're fighting amongst each other is what the police say. They have not released the names of the victims, their ages or anything, and not a whole lot of detail, but it's not looking good. And I think it raises the broader question of, look, gun violence is an issue, but I'm a firm believer in the Second Amendment. Mm-hmm. I don't think taking away guns is going to solve anything. It's going to make things worse, because the old NRA bumper sticker saying if guns are outlawed, only outlaws will have guns. But I think because this is juveniles once again, that it brings up the broader question of, like, what are we doing wrong in our society? Because you and I are about the same age, grew up in the 70s and 80s.
Yep.
We didn't have school shootings.
No, not at all.
When there were shootings, it was always at the post office, and it was always somebody going postal, usually some postal employee. Kids are shooting kids now on record number basis, and that means to me that something has changed in our society. And I have a couple of thoughts about what those are, but what are your thoughts on what's going on?
I was going to say I'd be interested to hear your thoughts, because I'm really baffled by it. I mean, I know there's a lot, there's social media, there's there's so many different ways that we're raising our kids. But this is it's beyond troubling.
It really is. And I think also is social media, also these violent video games that boys play disproportionately than girls. And boys are disproportionately the ones that are the shooters than girls, although we do occasionally see a female shooter or a male that thinks he's a female. But I used to be really good friends with David G. He was the sheriff here in Hillsborough County for about 20 years.
Such an amazing guy, yes. Amazing person.
And every time I talked to him, we would end up talking about things going on with kids and kids in the juvenile justice system. And every single time this conversation came up, David G. used to say the same thing. He said, Chris, the number one cause of all this violent crime and among juveniles is because the kids aren't taught respect anymore. They are not taught respect in the home, to be respectful of parents, to be respectful of teachers, to be respectful of law enforcement and other authority figures. And these kids just run around, they run amok and do whatever the hell they want, thinking that there are no repercussions, because there are never repercussions when you shoot somebody on a video game. Right.
It's very interesting, though, what you bring up respect. I know, listen, we have beautiful children, right? And I think Sammy is respectful, but I would never talk to my parents the way that kids talk.
Right. Today.
Today.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, I wouldn't even dream of it. Yeah. I wouldn't dream of it. I was talking to a therapist about this today, a therapist friend of mine, and she even mentioned it is just what Sheriff G said, the lack of respect and entitlement. Then if you're not being respectful, then what happens? You become entitled.
Well, the follow-up that I would always ask David, well, why aren't they being taught respect? And he said, because the parents don't discipline. And if you don't discipline, you let your kid act like an asshole, guess what? They're going to grow up and be an asshole.
And I hate to say it does come back on the parents, right? One thing I'll say, and I don't want Sammy to be upset with me or anything, I'm very thankful she's very respectful to other people, like every other parent, teachers, and everything. So
I've been around her. She's respectful toward me, and I've seen her be respectful. And
so maybe, but maybe I let it slide though with me, and that's wrong as a parent. I think you need to stand your ground. I think sometimes, you and I both come from families where, we got divorced and maybe there's a guilt factor or, I don't know.
Yeah, so let things slide.
Yeah, so let things slide a little bit, because I just go back to my childhood. There is no way. There is.
Oh, and talk to your parents that way?
Oh my God, my dad wouldn't tolerate it if I try. But again, she's a great kid. I don't mean to say that, but I've noticed it just, okay.
It's different.
If you're over at someone's house for dinner, don't you bring the plate to the sink?
Absolutely.
So a lot of times I see like teenagers not doing that.
But it's a taught behavior. So if they're not doing it, it's because you as a parent have failed them by not teaching them proper etiquette, discipline, manners, those kinds of things, right? It all comes back on the parents.
Yeah.
Okay, so another...
We really try, though, right? We really try.
Well, I was a disciplinarian in my house, and that led to my kids not talking to me a lot too. So there's always that, but everything's a trade-off. This tragedy in Rhode Island this week, where a man shot 2 of his family members at a high school hockey game. Now, I say this person was a man, which it was a man. He was a transgender woman, but at the end of the day, he's a man who thinks he's a woman. I don't buy into any of this transgender crap. Like, I think those people have a mental disorder. I think if I walked in here tomorrow and I had little kitty cat ears on, and I was dragging a litter box behind me, and I thought I was a cat, you would probably say, Chris, you need serious mental health counseling, wouldn't you?
You're going to make a lot to upset, don't you think, Christopher?
I'm good at that. But, hey, look, I just call it like I see it. And my opinions are not necessarily Sarina's, nor should they be. But, this is a big deal. And this is the second in a week where a transgender woman, a man that thinks he's a woman, has shot someone. Had one in Canada. The Charlie Kirk shooter wasn't himself a transgender, but his boyfriend, who thought he was a girl. I mean, there are some connections there. And there have been a handful of other transgender men who think they're women who have shot up people. And I really think that it is a mental disorder. It used to be classified as a mental disorder by the DSM, which is kind of the Bible for the psychology and psychiatry profession. And a friend of mine who's a psychologist explained to me why it changed a few years ago. Because it used to be classified as a mental disorder. And I asked her, I said, well, why is it no longer classified as a mental disorder? And she said, because the pro-transgender community infiltrated the American Psychological Association, got on the right committee to make the change, and she said anytime a committee makes a recommendation to the broader APA, it always gets almost rubber stamped and approved. So it was really an easy task for them to go in and say, hey, let's change this so it's no longer characterized as a mental disorder. But my question then is always, well, if it's no longer a mental disorder, why do these people have to go see 2 psychologists or psychiatrists before they can go get snipped or whatever they do?
Well, it's a very hot button issue, and honestly, it's not even fair for me to speak on it because I haven't researched it enough. I know you always say that I'm, but honestly, You're Switzerland. Yeah, I'm Switzerland. But don't you think, though, believe me, I know that, of course, what we're talking about is clearly a lot of people have opinions on that. But also the other aspect of this story, that the fact that it happened at a youth hockey game.
High school.
Yes, and so it also what's happened to the world that you can't go to a school event, a school game, people getting upset. Right. I mean, it's like these tempers. I mean, people get out of control. And I know, maybe it's not fair, of course, to compare a shooting to that, but you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it
is.
It's like you're nervous.
It's horrible. Right? We talked about this earlier. We never would have thought about that kind of stuff. When I was in high school, I grew up in Naples, and there were guys that drove pickup trucks that had a shotgun or a rifle hanging in the rear window of their car that they parked at school. Today, if you showed up in that truck with a gun on it, you'd end up in jail.
And here's me. I grew up in Olympia, Washington, went to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. We were on Lake Placid. You know what I mean? I mean, again, of course, I know that's dreamlike. But I mean, my daughter went to a Catholic school too, but they went through training in case there was an active shooter.
Right, active shooter training, metal detectors,
Oh my
all that,
gosh.
deputies in the schools. I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
Very unfortunate. Anyhow, on the last point about this person, it was Robert Dorgan, who now goes by Roberta Esposito, and again shot up his son and shot up his son's mother. And he was mad, this Robert Dorgan, aka Roberta Esposito, was mad the day before because someone on social media had called Congresswoman Sarah McBride, who is actually a man who thinks she's a woman. She's the first transgender person in Congress. This person was upset about that and wrote on social media, "Keep bashing us, but don't wonder why we go berserk." And berserk was in all caps. But then why did they turn around and go shoot up their own family members?
I know.
It's just mental disorder.
Gosh.
It's a mental disorder. So we'll see. They also said that someone who knew this person, the man that shot, said he's very, very crazy, and that the media has researched the reason for his filing for divorce was because of his gender reassignment surgery and narcissistic personality traits.
So scary.
Go figure.
I know.
Crazy world we live in.
Crazy world we live in.
All right, so if that isn't bad enough.
Leading into the next story.
Leading to the next. Illegal immigration and this terrible attempted murder in Martin County.
In Martin, a woman walking on the beach. I mean, here she is, like, right, walking. How oftentimes you feel safe on the beach?
Right.
You know, just walking down the beach, and then what happens?
Well, this man who is an illegal immigrant from Venezuela, 25-year-old man, his name was Hernandez Gonzalez, and he saw her, approached her on the beach. She did not like being approached by him and probably said, like, "Go away, dirtbag," something to that effect. And he didn't like that, and so then he strangled her in the water, thought he had drowned her, he thought he had killed her, took her cell phone and threw it into the ocean, and then he walked away.
And she miraculously, she
was not dead.
Yeah, she survived. And then she walked a mile until she encountered or saw a deputy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the guy, the next day, was back on the beach and being suicidal, and someone called the sheriff's office because he said he was suicidal. They get there, and then he confesses to, I thought that I had killed this woman here at the beach last night. And he then tells them that after he thought he drowned her, he got in his car, he smoked pot, and drank a bottle of vodka. And the police said he showed no remorse for this crime that he committed.
And it's beyond upsetting. So even though he says, though, I'm not excusing it at all, but even though he says he shows no remorse, but then he's smoking marijuana, drinking a bottle of vodka, was he bragging about what he did? I mean, what was he doing? I mean, you know?
And why was he suicidal?
Right.
Yeah,
like, so
crazy.
Was he showing suicidal because he was remorseful? I guess that's what I'm saying. And then for him to say that he wasn't remorseful, that doesn't matter. I mean, that's even beside the point.
Right.
The point is, here is someone who tries to kill an innocent woman walking on the beach.
And I will make a note to our Democrat friends. Folks, this is why we have laws in our country that say you need to come in here legally, not illegally. Because this man, had he been not in the country illegally, had we been enforcing our borders the way we should be, he more than likely would not be here. And the fact that we are rounding people up who are here illegally and sending them back to their country of origin is for a very good reason. And thank you, President Donald Trump. I will stop with my rant. Switzerland, what are your thoughts on that subject?
Okay, these are my thoughts on this subject. I think that we should do a separate show called Ingram's Insights because I've always admired you. As you know, we've been friends for a long, long time, and you're known for politics. You know, me, little old me, Switzerland, okay, and also in full transparency, we've talked about this too. When I was on news, I was paying attention to everything that was happening. So I stepped away from news, as you know, went to entrepreneurship, started my, my shows, helping produce like a national show now. So I am not as well versed, I feel.
Well,
as
I
you
should
are.
probably do what you do and kind of get away from the news, because I do recognize and I feel myself like blood pressure rising when I see these stories, the two that we just talked about, and it's just like, ugh, and there's so little you can do. It's out of your control. And to me, like, that's frustrating, and frustration is the emotion that I deal with the least best. Yeah, so
It
that's
is really-
frustrating. It is
yeah.
frustrating.
Yeah. I mean, I just think just to, and we've talked about it before, just in general, the country is so divided right now. I know it's Switzerland, and I know that it's probably.
That's why we love you, Sarina.
But it's not, it's not realistic maybe yet. But I do hope one day, when you and I grew up, going back to that, whoever was the president, whether you believed in the party, you didn't believe in the party, you still respected the president,
Right.
or people of authority.
Yeah.
And that's what, in my perfect world, that's what I would like to
I'm
do.
agreeing with you, but I'm actually thinking about myself when I was in 5th grade and Jimmy Carter was president, and we used to actually have a song that we'd sing on the school bus that was not particularly flattering toward Jimmy Carter. God bless his soul. But anyhow, you're a good person.
No. Well,
That's
so are
why
you.
we love you, because you're Switzerland.
No, so are you. So are you.
Okay. IRS.
Okay. Anytime we hear
Right.
anything about the IRS, we're like, ugh.
For a lot
No
of people,
offense.
this
Talk about a job
right?
that people,
Yeah, it's no fun.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, this is going to be a positive story, because I think 63% of Americans are expected to get a tax refund this year. And the good news for them is, so far, the average refund is up 11%. They're expected to be around 10 or 11% in terms of refund over last year, like $2,260 versus $2,000 and change. So an extra couple $100. And this is being touted as a result of Trump's The Big Beautiful Bill. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, okay.
This is not Switzerland speaking.
Yeah,
right?
no, but this is also what I wanted to talk to you about. So, and it's not about the big beautiful bill, but about just in taxes and everything in general. I was always taught, though, that it was better not to get any type of refund, because so you could, right? I mean,
Yes,
isn't that,
absolutely. Absolutely.
Isn't that supposed to be, the case? And not to owe either, but come as close as possible as to be equal.
Yes. Well, first of all, I would say I agree with you 100%. Right? You don't want really to get a refund. You want it as close to you owe zero and you don't get any money back at the end of the year, because when you get a refund back, you have just loaned the federal government
Right.
that $2,000 for 12 months, no interest paid. Now, if you owe them $2,000, they tack on interest if you don't pay it on time.
Right, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And-
It's so not fair. It's so not fair.
As a general rule, as a thought about the whole withholding tax premise that we operate under in the United States, where your employer takes out your FICA, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and all that stuff, and federal taxes, I think that is the biggest scam that has ever been perpetuated on the American people.
Oh, you do?
To tax people is one thing. To tax them and then take it out of their paycheck, where most people don't even feel it, right? You just think, well, the $1,000 you made last week and you only get $700 back. Well, that's just, that's the way it works. I think that our government would be a lot more responsible about the way that they spend our money. I mean, they really waste a lot of money. If the American people did not have their taxes withheld every 2 weeks, but every 2 weeks or every month, you had to sit down and write a check to the IRS for the same amount that they're withholding from you, so that it would be on the forefront of your mind. This is how much money, this is how many hours, how hard I have to work every month or every week to pay my portion of the federal income tax. If you had to consciously think about that.
Right, and consciously write
man,
that check.
The politicians would get their butts so straightened out about pissing away money, it would make your head spin.
Well, you watch some of those, television dramas, and we can talk about Scandal, for instance, and there's like an episode where, they're going through, and $1 million was spent on and things that are so not necessary at all.
Yeah.
But that's a really good point. Yeah, if you have to sit there and write the check.
As a small business owner, I have to write a check to pay my quarterly taxes every 3 months, right? I think every American should have to do that. Your employer should not be withholding your money. You should get your paycheck, and then you be responsible for paying your taxes. Now, is this ever going to happen? Hell no. Because the politicians know that it would upset people. And, you ask the question, well, is it right to get to zero, or do you want a refund? Actually, I've spoken to some people. They actually like the refund because they say, well, it's a way to force myself to save.
Yeah.
Which I find the whole premise of like needing the federal government to nanny you to save $2,000 a year means you're probably not really that responsible of a person, because there are a lot of ways you could actually force yourself to save too, but whatever. Some people like it, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I also think, as it relates to taxes, that April 15th, the day that your taxes are due, should be on election day. Every single year, tax due date should be the same as election day.
You know what? Wow. If we think about that and the emotional and the mental, the connect.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that ain't gonna happen either, right?
No, that's not gonna happen.
Because it would hurt the very people that we're trying to make the point that we want to get rid of.
That's not gonna happen. It is interesting though, too, because I also, have my own business. I'm a small business owner. And wow, what a change. What a real change that is, like on being an entrepreneur. Like you're so used to, here's how much you get made, you're right.
Yeah.
It's
taken out for you.
Yeah, it's taken out for you. Yeah, like, I'm $1,000, as you said, we'll just use that. All right, yes, I made $1,000, but I'm used to getting $700,
right.
And so you just become accustomed to that. You don't even really question it.
You don't question it.
You don't question it at all.
No. If you had to do that, if you had to write a check to the federal government every week, you would question every dollar that's spent.
Yeah.
I know I would. I do anyhow. But I'm kind of weird.
No, you're not. You're on top of your game, my friend. You're on top of my game.
We got our last kind of story, other than sports, which we're going to talk about. This building, the Ventnor building in St. Pete, I just drove past this on Sunday. Yes. I'd never noticed this building before. On Sunday, I was riding with my girlfriend and drove past that street, and all of a sudden there was this big pink building, like 5 buildings. Old kind of ratty looking buildings, and they're painted bright pink. I think we have a picture of it we're going to throw on the screen. I had no idea why this was being done. I thought it was really, really strange though. And then we saw the story today.
Yeah, and because they're going to be demolished.
Yeah, the building's going to be demolished.
For a high rise. But let me ask you this. Okay, so people, please don't get mad at me. I know I shouldn't care, but I am Switzerland. Like why? But I know it's kind of like a last hurrah. But all the time and effort into painting and the expensive painting just to tear it down for the high rise? So
actually the developer of this building, and I have a couple of friends who are big time developers, and they've told me like whenever a developer goes into a community, if they're smart, they always try to ingratiate themselves with the neighborhood so that they're not as mad at the developer, right? There are certainly a lot of people in St. Pete that are upset that this 100-year-old set of buildings, they're like 3-story apartment buildings, they're really ratty and ugly, it's been abandoned for over a year. But there are no doubt people that are upset that this 100-plus-year-old building is going to be destroyed. So the developer comes in and they say, hey, we're going to tear down this building. We want to get authorization from the city. And as part of our plan, we want to, before we tear this building down, we're going to paint it pink and we're going to let artists come in and paint murals on this building, and they'll be up there for 6 or 8 months before they destroy the building by tearing it down. And so they contacted the St. Pete Arts Alliance. And proposed this to them, and they said yes. And so on Saturday this week, there are going to be over 100 artists that are going to come and paint murals on that building. They'll be up there on display for the whole world to see for 6 or 8 months before the buildings are destroyed. And the developer has made nice with part of the community.
Yes, okay, so which I think that is fantastic and that is great. It's great. But then the murals are only going to be up for 6 months. Wouldn't it be great if the developer said, paint the murals and we'll take the murals and, I don't know, like make it part of the art for some of the buildings, like some of the new development that might not be realistic.
I mean, yeah, it could possibly.
It may not be realistic. It may not be realistic, right? But can some of that beautiful artwork that we have amazing artists, as we know, in St. Petersburg and in Tampa, but St. Petersburg is really known
for its arts.
Could maybe, or even it may not be realistic, right, to have all of that artwork, but maybe could they have the community vote for their favorite mural?
Oh, that's a great idea.
And
preserve some of them.
Yeah, and have that mural or the top 3 as part of the new building.
I think you should run for mayor.
Do you think so?
It would be great.
You think so? Yeah. I was asked once.
You were asked to run for mayor?
Yeah.
Well, you're in Tampa. We're talking about St. Pete. But to run for mayor in Tampa?
Years ago, someone said, do you think you would ever run for political office? And someone asked me also if I would run like for the, like county commission and all this stuff. But truly, politics, I
don't know, Sarina.
I can't do it.
You're very likable. That's what it's all about. It's all about likability.
So flattered.
I'll run your campaign if you run.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think
You heard it here, folks.
Sarina
on the record.
Fazan, Mayor of Tampa. Mayor Fazan.
Maybe not the
Miss
mayor.
Fazan.
Maybe not
Oh
the
yeah,
mayor.
you don't upset Buckhorn. I got enough Buckhorn, and we don't need more Buckhorn. You would be 1,000-time improvement over Buckhorn.
He knows me so well. You know me so.
I'm getting on your skin.
But
You're awesome.
But if I really ran for something, would you be my
Yeah,
campaign
hell
manager?
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you would be a great candidate too.
You think so?
Absolutely.
Well,
Because you're
I
just
do
so
love
likable. Likability is, and I'm not trying to diminish. You're a very intelligent person, but
Thank
likability is. This is why we have so many idiots in Washington and Tallahassee, because being likable is more important than having good ideas. So I'm just from a likability standpoint, you would be a phenomenal candidate.
Well, thank you for saying that.
Because you're super likable. Everybody tells me, like, oh my gosh, Sarina, she's just so nice.
Oh, no, that's so sweet. Well, I do love people.
Yeah, you do.
I love people.
Okay, you also love sports.
I love sports.
We both particularly
Oh my
like
gosh.
football.
We love football.
So we're going into week 2, post Super Bowl, with no football.
Yeah, and so with that said, I've got nothing.
You got nothing. Well, the only kind of football news I have as a Miami Dolphins fan is the Dolphins have released Tyreek Hill.
Wow, I mean, that's big.
Good riddance. And it gives them a little bit of additional money with the salary cap because they already have a lot of dead weight on their cap. But I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I'm excited though. For speaking of football though, the new coaches that have been named, namely John Harbaugh. Like the interviews with him, and and that. But I know we need to also think about what's actively happening right now. The Olympics.
We got
the
Olympics. We got baseball. We've got hockey here in Tampa. Neither of us are really big into those sports, but we should probably start following a bit more.
We should.
But the Olympics. Have you watched any of the Olympics?
So I haven't. But here's a little fun fact about Sarina Fazan. My dad was he was supposed to play soccer in the Olympics for London, but he got injured before. And so he's a big proponent, stay in school, get your college education. Right. You still see the scars on his legs and everything. Wow. But I don't mean to, so I grew up though, loving the Olympics. Loving the Olympics because, the whole sportsmanship and everything. But no,
You don't really care now?
I don't.
Have you watched even 10 minutes of the Olympics? No. So we had Bridget fill in for you, Bridget Bella, a couple weeks ago, and we talked about the Olympics, and I made the comment, curling, what in the heck kind of sport is that? That's just stupid. That's like mopping ice and throwing some big ball-looking thing behind it. She goes, oh, that's Jose, her husband's, that's his favorite sport. But she agreed with me that it's really stupid. So ironically, the only few minutes of the Olympics that I've seen, I went to the premiere of The Advocate, which is this show that's going to be on Amazon Prime that season 1 already is, and season 2 they filmed at my house and here in the studio.
That's so exciting.
A couple of scenes, yeah. So I was at the premiere for cast and crew on Sunday night, and it was at this bar, and what they had on TV at the bar before the premiere started was the Olympics, and guess what sport it was?
Get out of town.
Curling. Yeah.
It's so funny.
It was kind of crazy.
Well, if there's anything in the Olympics though I do love, I love gymnastics and ice skating.
So you're more of but have you watched any of those Winter Olympics ice skating?
Yeah, none.
Well, what's your excuse?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we're working too much.
Yeah, that could be. Let's go on vacation.
Yeah.
You have been on vacation. What are you talking about?
I just got back.
What's your next vacation plan?
So the next vacation plan I have is, I'm very excited about this. It's Sammy's mother-daughter weekend for her sorority.
Okay.
Katie. So
Kappa Delta.
Yeah, Kappa Delta. So that's the end of March.
Yeah, you're looking forward to that?
I'm so looking forward
to that. Is it a whole weekend?
It's a whole weekend. Wow. I'm so excited.
Wow.
Yes. How about you? What are your next vacation plans?
I'm going to Europe with my daughter Mia in May. Yeah, for 2 weeks. We're gonna have a great time.
So
she's actually coming over tonight, and we're gonna plan some
of
our little excursions that we're gonna do.
Oh my gosh, is she still beyond excited?
Yeah, she's pretty excited.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
we love her. We love Mia.
Well, fantastic, Ms. Fazan. Another show.
Honestly, I'm just still thinking about that. Maybe one day, this ever comes to, if you never know what happens in life, that you, Christopher Ingram, would be my campaign manager.
I think we're gonna have to start working on that. I'm gonna get some people to start recruiting you. Bob Buckhorn, look out. You have met your nemesis, and I am going to help lead her to City Hall way ahead of you, my former friend.
I'm even laughing, so okay. All right.
Every story shared.
That's another heartbeat to Tampa Bay.
From courage to community.
We are so proud to tell the stories that keep our community strong.
Thanks for watching Heartbeat of Tampa Bay.
I just love you.